Here we go. Can you do a rocker? Can you do a good rocker? So a rocker, you don't change edge, right? You either stay on the outside or stay on the inside. You do turn from forward to backward, and you change the direction of the curve. The rocker happens on a point of inflection, mathematical point where the curve changes from one direction to the other. So, yeah, what's important for a rocker? Well, what's important to do a good rocker is the same as what's important to do a good bracket and counter. You want to start with your spinal twist. So if I'm going to do an inside rocker, for example, here, I want to start with my shoulders all the way around this way so that they're over the tracing, and then I can do the rocker and stay on a nice inside edge and keep the edges deep. We don't want to go on a flat. Most skaters are magicians nowadays. They start their rocker on a nice deep edge and they come out on a nice deep edge, but to do the actual rocker itself, they go to a flat, and it even changes edge sometimes. But we don't want to go to a flat. It does make the turn very much more difficult, but judges are going to recognize and be blown away if you do actual rockers on deep edges. Yeah, so that's the most important thing, is to get your spinal twist going into these rockers. If I'm going to do an outside rocker in this direction, I've got my shoulders twisted all the way around this way. Practice this position. Just practice getting in that position and gliding in that position with that twist. And then coming out, I'm going to be twisted the other way, right? So you can practice your outside edge with a twist the other way, so you get really comfortable with how you go into the turn and how you come out of the turn. And then you have to just piece them together. So here we go. Lots of twist and twist the other way. Yeah. And what's the same about a rocker as for, 3-turn counter bracket? What's the same for all of these turns is I think it does help to have a little bit of a jump action. For your step sequence, you don't want to jump your turns because you won't get credit for them, but you do want to have a jump action. This is a jump action, right? A takeoff and a landing, takeoff and landing. And so if you have just a little bit of a jump action, you'll take most of your weight off of your skating foot, and that does make the turn easier to do and maybe less risky, let's say, too. So if I'm going to go into my, let's do a back outside rocker here. I twist all the way around this way and a little bit of a bounce, and then over onto the other edge. No flats, no straight lines. A curve leading in, a curve leading out of the rocker. So a nice curve leading into the rocker and a curve leading out of the rocker. Did you notice I jumped that turn? Barely, barely. Probably I would still get credit for it. Probably if I didn't fess up and say I jumped it, nobody maybe would have noticed. Yeah, you want the almost jump to be just an almost, not an actual jump. You like that rocker, how curvy and deep it is, and the level of skating skills that the judges are going to be impressed with? Yeah, now if you really want to get fancy with your rockers, you'll put a little scissor action into the turn. And this scissor action does actually help make the turn more symmetrical, and it helps so you don't over-rotate the turn. Most skaters tend to over-rotate their rockers. There's more curve on the first side, and then it comes out relatively straight and flat. And we want as much curve on both sides. And this free leg action, this scissor action does help, because I'm going to kick back in the direction I'm coming from, and that's going to make my blade go forward this way, so it's going to feel like I go in flat and straight, and then all the curve is going to feel like it's on the second side. So go in straight, scissor, then on the second side curve, and that's going to counteract the tendency to over-rotate the turn. How does that look? No rotation, just a twist, and scissor and turn. And I get a nice, deep, classical rocker turn when I do that. So that's the other advantage of scissoring at the right time during the turn, is you get a really deep rocker turn that people are going to recognize. Your judges are going to recognize these deep turns. So a nice scissor action, and into a nice deep turn. I don't know if you can see that on the ice, Kaz. Can you get? We'll disconnect the video. We'll take a picture of this maybe after to add in, if it's possible. But the depth of that turn is a foot or so, you know, a third of a meter. And what do you think? Yeah, it's a very symmetrical turn. It's a beauty. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think, apart from the pattern that I made on the ice, do you think it looks cool? And do you think it looks like I'm showing skill when I do that turn? Yeah. So, yeah, take those tips from a seasoned figure generation skater, apply them to your own skating, and impress your judges, and get higher points, and get higher up on the podium. Okay, good luck with that. Do you know anybody else who's struggling with rockers, who really wants to perfect and make their rocker like super supreme? Well, share this video with that friend of yours, and they will be grateful. We hope. Thank you for tuning in. Come and see me again soon. Bye now.